And Ray and I are excited to have you guys with us on Facebook. We have a great panel of guests today that's joining us. If you've been following all of the Mixed Company posts, then you know that tonight we are specifically talking about the subject of parenting. So, yes, anybody out there that is a parent, this is definitely a conversation that you want to participate in. And we definitely encourage you to leave your questions and your comments in the chat, and we will definitely include you in our conversation as we move forward. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Monisa Mason. I am one of the hosts and the founder of Mixed Company, along with my co-host Ray Williams. Say hi, Ray.
What's up? What's up, people?
And we're excited to be back. This is season 2 of Mixed Company. This has been going on for about 2 years. I can't believe it. The very first Mixed Company I had was on January 24th of 2020 in my living room. So these 2 years have definitely gone by very quickly. And because of the great old pandemic, we are on Zoom. So we make the best of it, but it's been a great experience so far. So I will let Ray just do a very quick introduction, and then we're going to also have our guests that are on with us today. We're going to have them do a quick introduction, and then we're going to jump right into our topic.
Awesome. As Monisa said, my name is Ray Williams. Very excited to be here tonight to discuss the topic of parenting. I think it's very important for us to share ideas so that we know that we're not the only ones that feel the way that we do. So very excited to jump into this topic today, and just want to thank the panel for joining us tonight. So if you guys could just take a moment to introduce yourself to the audience. We'll start with Deanna.
Hey, y'all. I'm Deanna. I live here in Cleveland. I am the parent of Trey, who is 6. Trey was recently diagnosed, I believe, earlier last year with moderate to severe autism. So that's a whole world in itself. I also raised my nephews. One is 17 and one is 16. And I'm very happy to be here. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Deanna. Carissa.
Hello, Krista Thompson here from Puyallup, Washington. I have 2 kids, a 15-year-old daughter and a 17-year-old son, and super excited to be here too.
We're excited to have you, Carissa. Thank you so much. Mark?
Hello, I'm Mark Gonzalski. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, but I live in Iowa City, Iowa now. I have one son named Zane. He's 3-year-old, so I'm still relatively new to the parenting thing. And I'm happy to be here discussing parenting with everybody.
Welcome to the panel, brother. Ty.
My name is Ty from Cleveland, Ohio. I have a 6-year-old daughter, very active kid. Very happy to be here with everybody.
We're happy to have you as well. Shakia?
Hi, everybody. I'm Shakia. I live in Cleveland, Ohio, and I have a 16-year-old daughter named Shada. And thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Mr. Marcel.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I have a 10-year-old daughter, 7-year-old daughter, and 5-year-old daughter.
Ooh-wee. We appreciate you for joining us, Marcel. Monisa?
All right. Well, we are excited. This is going to be good. This is going to be really good. So those of you that are currently watching right now, you've probably seen me post a few times, especially recently, about parenting, the topic of parenting, my own parenting woes, and all of that. And so I figured this would be a great topic to bring to Mixed Company. So we have a variety of amazing parents on this panel, all come from different walks of life, all have different stories to tell and to share. And so we're going to just jump right in with some great conversation starters that our panelists sent to us to kind of get everything going. We do encourage those of you that are watching to, again, please comment, ask questions, whatever. We want this to be very interactive, and make sure that you continue to stay tuned, because we do have a special announcement for all of you guys that are watching, and we don't want you to miss it. Last but not least, before we get started, please share it. This is public, so you can share this live on your page so that all of your family and friends can watch and participate as well. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into the very first question. What are some things that you do as a parent that you intentionally do differently from your parents?
I
Uh,
don't, yeah, I don't know how
Take
you
it. You got it. Go ahead.
I am more patient, and I don't have a lot of patience. But I find I'm more patient with Trey. I think I was more patient even before we had the diagnosis of autism, because I just knew something was different. Um, and I engage and I listen. I didn't have that engagement growing up. I was in activities, but there was no one there. My friends would come to see my performances and things of that nature, but there was no parent there. So I make sure that I'm present at my nephew's games. I'm present at their events, award ceremonies, parent teacher conferences. So for me, it's just the showing up. I definitely feel like I do that more, maybe to compensate for what I didn't have. But I definitely make sure my presence is known and that they know that someone is there watching them and rooting for them.
Anybody else have anything they want to add to
Yeah,
that
I'll
before?
go. One thing I try to do, I have a 3-year-old, so he's still a little developing, but I want him to be his own person, not very codependent. Some of my experience from my parents were they were very like, you got to do this for us, and kind of a little bit codependent. So I'm trying to make sure I don't do that to him. I want him to be his own person, let him do what he wants, and not ever put pressure on him to make someday that he has to do something in consideration of me. So I do want him to just be a free bird and not have to worry about me. And if something does happen, he definitely hopefully take care of me or something. But I don't want to put that added pressure on him to take care of me or anything.
Carissa, I see you have your hand up.
So yeah, several things come to mind when I think about this. Not that my parents did. I mean, my parents did what they knew, right? They loved me how they knew to. They did things they thought they were doing right. They may have been sometimes a little overprotective, and instead of giving me education around things, it was more trying to control my situations. So I try really hard to give my kids all of the ins and outs of things and allow them to make their own decisions. So it's like I didn't have them to live my life. I had them to live their life. Some of the processing that we did when they were younger, I remember my mom, she used to ask me in the car, what'd you do today at school? And it was like, I don't know. Well, what'd you learn? I don't know. And so instead of asking my kids those kind of questions, it was more, what did you do today that really stood out to someone else? Or what was someone's behavior that really made an impact on you today, negative or positive? And then just was able to have some of those conversations. And then again, the other piece to it that kind of came to mind was that letting go of expectations of what I want their life to look like, and really just allowing them to have that freedom to embark upon a life that is completely unique and to their own. I'm a free spirit, and I remember just feeling my wings clipped constantly. And so it was really important for me to really try to instill that freedom of expression to them, right?
That's really good.
Mhm.
And just to kind of reset the room for those that are just joining, the current topic that we're speaking on right now is what are some things that you do as a parent that are different from what your parents did as parents? And I'm seeing in the comments, Tanisha said that she apologizes when she's wrong. And I think that that is really, really important. And I think that I feel like our generation is probably a little more open to that concept than the older generations because,
Yeah.
if many of you are like me, we come from parents who, I'm right, this is just what it is. And so our generation, I feel like we're being a little more cognizant of how our kids are feeling emotionally and checking in with them and making sure that they're good in a good space, but also being able to take accountability because we're not perfect. Parenting is not perfect. There is no perfect handbook. And so sometimes we're gonna mess up. We're probably gonna mess up a lot, but showing our kids that we're able to apologize and take ownership of the things that we're doing that could potentially hurt them, and showing that vulnerability, I think
Yeah.
really sets them up for success emotionally. So that's a really good point, Tanisha. Thank you for that.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, one of the things that I had to appreciate is that our parents raised us like their parents raised them, right? And our grandparents raised their children from a notion of survival, and that's just not our reality, right? I try to raise my children from a sense of abundance, and we don't have to operate in the same way as my grandparents or my parents did. And so one of the things that I really pride myself on is allowing my children to ask questions, right? Like I never tell them, if I tell them to do something, it's never because I said so. That's not something that I would be okay with from anyone, right? And so I feel like we owe it to them to have a reason for whatever it is that we're doing. If I tell you to clean your room, it's because we need the house to be clean, right? Or we need to be able to find things. And I feel like it's up to us to be okay with having that conversation, and also to build that relationship with our children so that they can be inquisitive and that they can understand the world, from a perspective of growing.
Good.
Another comment is from Sanchez. He says that he makes sure to show love, hugs, and kisses, and always telling his kids that he loves them. And I think that is amazing. So thank you for that, Sanchez. Carissa?
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback off of something Ray just said. One of the things that I always would notice is, like, sometimes I would ask my parents something and it's like they'd be reactive, right? And so my son, when he was in 4th grade, I was telling him, you need to clean the bathroom better. Let me tell you, what I expect. And he was like, well, what do you do around here? And I instantly wanted to be like, oh, bro, let me show you what I do around here. And then I was like, you know what? I had that same question of my parents, but there's no way I had the guts to ask them. And I was like, how cool that he actually feels comfortable in our relationship to ask me that. And so it was like, you know what? Go grab a pen and paper. Let's sit down. I'm going to show you what I do. And so here's all the bills. Here's how much it costs. Whenever I go to work, this is what I get paid. This is, what that equates to in all of these bills. And so when I'm out working all day, that's what I'm doing for the household. So when you're here, like, those are the things you're contributing to the household. And because you get to contribute to the household, I also ask you what kind of food you want and, what kind of things we want to do on the weekend. And so you have say in the household too, just like I do. It just looks different. And so as you were saying that, Ray, that's something that sparked that I was like, oh, I'm so glad. And not all the time do I not react, but for the most part, I try to be very responsive and intentional about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. A big thing for me growing up, and I don't know. I mean, this is an open conversation. My dad used a lot of profanity in the house. That's just who he is. That's his thing. Can't really control that. But I try to make sure that I don't use that kind of language around my daughter. I want her to understand that she can express herself and she can have conversations and have dialogue without having to use profanity and, getting upset and everything like that. Even with the music, I make sure that she's listening to music that doesn't include any cursing or any profanity or foul language, things like that. So that's a really big thing for me in my household.
Just to piggyback off of the last person who put a comment. So I am always like overly loving on my daughter. First and foremost, she's 16 and y'all know how teenagers can be. And I have totally opposite of what's expected of teenagers these days. So growing up, my mom was a single mom. My dad was around, but like he was doing his own thing. So my mom made sure that we had everything. But it was more of the materialistic things. We always dressed nice. We were always, clean and well taken care of, had a roof over our head, had food in our bellies. But the hugs and the kisses and the I love yous, that's stuff that I didn't realize I was missing out on until I became a mom and until I actually had a teenager where I'm like, I just want to hug her and smell her. And, you know, when we're talking about the day every day, I'm asking her like, okay, so tell me what happened today. I'm not asking how was your day because good is an answer, right? And that's not enough for me. I need to know what happened, how was it, what did you struggle? And me and Monisa had a conversation a while back. So my daughter and I have lunch or dinner together every Friday. And every Friday, we link up and we discuss our threes, which is 3 things that went well this week, 3 things that did not go well this week, and 3 goals for next week. Because I need to know where your head is. I need to know what you're thinking. I need to know what made you sad, what made you angry, where did you get frustrated, so that if you need the help, I can provide that help to you. So many kids her age and even younger are committing suicide because they don't have that person. And if she feels like she doesn't have a friend, at least she knows she has me. So we are very, very, very close. When you see her, you see me. When you see me, you see her. Like that's literally it. And now she's driving, so now she's meeting me for dinner, you know, and you know she thinks she doing something big with her car or whatever. And it's bittersweet to see her growing up, but just to know that I'm pouring that love into her that I feel like I didn't have. I don't doubt that my parents love me. You know, they did love me. They just didn't express it, you know, physically or with those words.
I love that, the 3 things, and like that is amazing. So I definitely commend you on that. And I know saw Latrice in the comments, she gave you a shout out. She said she likes that as well. I'm sure a lot of parents are probably taking notes, like, let me see, you know, when I can take my little one to dinner or lunch, and let's talk about 3 things. But no, Shakia, shout out to you for that. That's an amazing idea. And any parent on the call or that's watching it, if that's something you feel like you can apply to get you to have more conversation and to get your child to open up, especially these teenagers, I definitely encourage you to take Shakia's advice and maybe try to incorporate that and see how that can get your kid to open up. So hats off to you. Deanna, go ahead.
Just quickly off of what Ty was saying, y'all didn't tell me that these kids was parrots and that they pick up everything. So you're on the phone and you're like, girl, let me tell you, or it might be like, let me, and next thing you know, you're in the other room far away, you hear, and you're like, what the, how did you, oh gosh. And then the placement. So he has picked up OS. You'll be in the bathroom, you hear, oh, and I'm like, what? How do you even know how to place those 2 words together?
Yeah.
But guess what? I'll drop something and go, oh, and guess who's standing right there? Or I'm WTF, and I'm like, God, you have to stop saying that, right? So I've taught him what the heck. I've caught WTF, and I'm like, oh gosh, please don't take that to school. Guess what? I get a note. Trey,
Yeah, man.
it's saying, so I mean, I can laugh now, but you're not laughing when you get the note from school. And I'm like, I have to be very careful, like you said, Todd, about what I say. I can't just speak freely anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't happen in this. I can't.
I just told Monisa, we were on the phone yesterday. I hit my foot on the couch and I said, shit. And my tear was like, shit. And it was just like, whoa, like, no, like, that's not one of the words I want you to say, you know, but, you know, it's a habit that I have to break about, you know, just being able to speak freely and all it, you know, with impressive ears around me. So same.
Good stuff, good stuff. All right, well, let's shoot on to the next topic. Now, this one, I don't know, it may shake the room a little bit. I'm curious to know who submitted this question, but this should be a good one. So, are you a single mother if the father is taking care of the child?
So can I take this one first? No, you are a mother that is single. And I think, you know, society, it's implied that if you're a single mom that you're doing it on your own, right? And so I feel like, you know, wearing that badge is an implied diss on that man that you had a child with. And so it's so for me, if I say I'm a single father, right? in the same way that women say it, you would assume that I had custody of my child and that the mom wasn't doing anything, right? Like that would be the assumption. So I think it's really unfair to men that, that take care of their children, that show up for them, and all of that, to have, their ex-partner to declare to the world that she's a single mom. I feel like it's a slap in the face to men that show up for their children, even if they aren't in the household. I think it's a really, really unfair statement.
Go ahead, Marcel. You must have submitted this question because you cheesing way too hard.
Yeah, I put that question in there. But no, for real though, like, so let me keep this, say it brief as much as I can. So I agree with everything that Ray said, like everything in how society puts things in perspective. And I would never knock, what mothers do and single mothers do. I will never knock that, but there is a quickness to screaming that single mom situation, like especially when the baby is newborn. I got a lot of male friends, but I got a lot of fellas that's like, as soon as that baby born, folks screaming single mother, and the fathers don't even get opportunity before the baby even come out the damn womb. So that's one. But on the other side, like for me, I've always, like, my oldest daughter, she lives with us, and her mom used to always yell like that single mom stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, like, I put myself on, child support. I pay this, I pay that. I mean, I cover the other half, whatever sport she had, regardless if we were out of town. I was always flying. I've never missed like events. My oldest daughter, she didn't miss Christmas. She doesn't miss a beat. And it was kind of like, you're quick to say like, oh, you're a single mom. And then even when you're struggling, I tell you all the time, for me, this is just me, this is my perspective, and people can take it how they want. If you struggling, like if my daughter's mom's struggling, I'm not paying your bills, flat out. However, I will come to your door and I will take my daughter with me and take her under my care until you get on your feet, because it's not my job to take care of you. If you can't afford to put food on the table, then it's my job to pull her over to me, which in our situation, that's where she's at now. I've always said that, because I strongly believe, like, you're not a single mother if I'm involved. I'm right there with you, side by side. No, we're not together, but we taking care of this kid together. So stop screaming this shit. So that's why I threw that question in, just to see like other perspectives and see what people say. And a lot of people are gonna disagree with that, but at the end of the day, real, like me, take care of mine. Like, so, yeah.
No, I definitely appreciate that question. If there's anybody that is currently watching, if you disagree with what we've said so far, please drop those comments so we can add that to the conversation if you disagree. And those that are just joining, just to kind of reset the room, the question that we're discussing right now is, are you a single mother if the father is taking care of the child? So I'm gonna hand it over to Carissa. What do you have for us?
So yes. And I'm really glad, Marcel, that you actually asked that question, because it's a brave question, right? A little setup of my situation: since my kids were 6 months and 2 years old, I have been an independent parent, fully independent. My kids' dad was an addict and was not available in their life to be here personally for them, or an every other weekend dad, or any of that, or financially. And so I looked at it as, yes, I'm a single parent, meaning I'm not with a partner, but I'm an independent parent, right? There's many people who are single moms, but they co-parent, right? They're co-parenting with the father. And so for me, I would love to see society kind of change those words up a little bit, because it does imply that if I'm a single mom, then my kids' dad isn't, taking care of them. And I don't know how many times I've seen women refuse help in ways, or refuse relationship in ways, and the kids are the ones who are the end result of that, right? Like, they're the ones who take the impact of that. What I will say is, even though my children's father was an addict and he struggled, we loved him from afar. However, we could emotionally support him and mentally support him. We could not financially support him because I was taking care of 2 kids, but we always loved him. We always were there for him. And even when before he passed away, we went to go visit him, even though he saw them maybe 5 times in their whole life, and talked to him 7 times. But my goal was, we always love your dad no matter what. We love the other parent no matter what, and we try to hope the best for them because it's a piece and a part of them, right? And so I would love for them, like just our society, to change that to where it's, I'm co-parenting, but I'm a single person, right? It's co-parenting, independent parenting, what have you.
Thank you for
Mark?
that, Teresa. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
just to go off of what Krista said, I think the nuance is lost on single parent. If you define what your situation is and have like a, if you want to say you're a single parent, there should be a criteria that is universally understood to identify as such. Like if you're a co-parent or if you got left, depending on what the situation is, the nuance needs to be said correctly. So the burden doesn't, because people will prejudge you if you have someone saying you're a single parent and it's not the case, and there's like a custody agreement. When someone meets you, maybe you're picking up from a game or you're going to an event, they might look at you differently, right? Like, oh, he showed up finally. So you definitely got to be in this day and age. You got to watch what terms you use and what context they're viewed in.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Mark, thanks for that. So one of the things that I want to say is that a lot of times the reason for those sorts of declarations are because of the deterioration of the relationship between the mother and the father, right? And so one of the things my oldest daughter is by a woman that I'm no longer with, but one of the things that I wanted to make sure of was that I did everything that I could to maintain a positive relationship with her. And so that sometimes meant me biting my tongue. That sometimes meant me not being able to express exactly how I felt, because a couple of things that I know is that the system isn't fair to men, right? So if I would have gone to court and like put myself on papers and all of those things, it would put me in a mental state of not wanting to solidify that relationship or to even have a relationship with her. So to be amicable with someone that you have a child with, I think is very, very important. And I think that's a huge piece of it. You know, when men talk about wanting to know what the mother is doing with the money that they send, I don't really give a fuck, right? Like I send that money to them, and whatever she spends it on, if she goes and buys a fucking pairs of shoes with it, I don't care, right? Like, because like that's the money that I've chosen to contribute to that household as a result of me having a child with her. So I think that the relationship and maintaining that relationship piece is the most important part, because if I'm resentful toward her, or if I don't like her, right, then I'm gonna care what you do with that money. Now I need to see where you're spending it and all of that. So one of the things that I just challenge any man that's not with the mother of their child is to try to forge a healthy relationship with her, because your child is with her more often than not.
So I want to bring in some of the comments in the chat. Those that are just joining, thank you for joining Mixed Company. We're talking about parenting. Right now, we're talking about if a single mother is truly a single mother, if the father is in the child's life. Tanisha said in the comments, I agree 100%, so I'm assuming she's agreeing with you, Ray. If feelings are still involved, whether romantic, spite, anger, etc., roles are taken out of context and reality is distorted. Thank you for that feedback, Tanisha. Does anybody else on the chat, on the live, have anything that they want to add to that particular question? Ty, you're muted, Ty.
There we go. So, I mean, just to kind of piggyback on the comment that you just read, that's kind of like what I have to deal with in my parenting situation. You know, the spite and old feelings and things like that, you know, coming from the other party, which, you know, kind of puts a roadblock in the way of trying to have a healthy co-parenting situation. And it turns into like chaos, you know, to a degree, because it's just like, you know, me on one side trying to have that healthy relationship, trying to, you know, do all the right things that I can do as a man and as a father, so that my child doesn't have to see bickering or arguing or, you know, all this toxicity. Like it's a constant struggle, you know, for some people, especially in the Black community. You know, it's just like we can't get over those hurdles for whatever reason or another. So it's just, you know, me dealing with that like on a daily and weekly basis, you know, just trying to show my daughter like, you know, that's not the way that, you know, things are supposed to be. When you see the arguing or, you know, when you see the back and forth and why can't I do this or do that because, you know, this parent feels this way and the other parent doesn't, you know, do things that way. It's a real struggle.
And it's really unfortunate, but you know what's going to eventually happen. I know your daughter is still young, but what eventually will happen is your daughter will start to see what's going on. And so, you know, my advice to you would be to stay the course, try to stay as patient as possible. And I know it's going to be frustrating, and it's easy to get looped into the arguments and everything like that, but my advice would be for you to continue to be the bigger person. And as your daughter starts to get older, or anybody that may be experiencing something similar, as your daughter starts to get older, she's going to start to see you for who you are, and she's going to start to see her mom for who she is. And then she will be able to start making her own decisions and making up her mind about how she views you guys as character. And sometimes we think this doesn't happen until we become adults, where we start to really see our parents for who they really are. But kids start seeing stuff when they're like 10, 11 years old, probably even before then, depending on the child. And so at the end of the day, it's about your daughter. It's not about her mom. And as long as your daughter knows that my dad is doing his best and he's being the bigger person, he's not arguing with mommy, he's not cussing mommy out. Like, if she sees that, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. But I think as you continue to try to work on yourself with being patient with the situation and not giving in to whatever her mother is trying to pull you into, at some point she's gonna have to like fall back, right? Like, she's gonna, at some point, it's gonna get old, she's gonna get tired. And I mean, your daughter, how old is she again?
6.
She's 6, so it may take a little while. But all you can control is you, right? You can't control her mom. So all you can do is control you, and don't let what her mom is doing or saying affect you and throw you off, because that's something she's going to have to deal with, especially as your daughter gets older and starts having questions. She's going to have to answer to that. So I commend you, and I just definitely encourage you to just give it your best, stay patient, don't let the frustration take over, and it'll come back full circle. It definitely will. Ray, I see you got your hand raised.
Yeah, I'm trying to be trying to do it the right way. So one of the things I just wanted to interject is just because someone isn't good for me doesn't necessarily mean that she isn't a good person, right? And I think that sometimes, because our relationship didn't work out, some women hold resentment toward us, and the child is really the only leverage that they have. And so one of the things that I found, man, and when I say that me and my oldest daughter's mom have a really good relationship, it wasn't easy to get there, right? Like, that was work. And that was years of work, and me trying to navigate a space in which I wasn't in control because my daughter wasn't in my household, right? So this woman had all of the control, but me wanting to be involved, me wanting to be a parent, I felt like that I should have more to say. But so one of my OGs told me a long time ago, and it was probably some of the best advice that I was ever given. He said, "Don't pick your battles, pick your wins, because battles can be won and lost." Right. And so what am I actually arguing about? What am I upset about? And if it's something that goes against my fundamental beliefs, cool. I can stand on that. I can argue that. But the petty bullshit, like, I started to let all of that go, and now, 12 years later, we're in a healthy relationship. I'm friends with her husband. I come down and I go to the house whenever. And it's real work, man. And the our ego sometimes doesn't allow us to not say how we feel, or to not let them have something, right? But if you feel the way that I feel when I look into my little girl's eyes, then you'll be able to let your ego go as well and do things, that you wouldn't normally do for the sake of your daughter.
Trust in you. I fully, agree with what you're saying, and that's a new game for me to, don't pick your battles, pick your wins. Like I can appreciate that, but it's just, I don't know my situation, how much different it is from anybody else's. But you just get one of those people, and it's just, a battle every step of the way. And I literally had to have a conversation with my daughter today about, something that transpired, and just ask her, what do you think about this? Or how did this make you feel? I had to, open up the door so that I could, take a look into her mind and her heart to know how she really felt about the situation. And then that's when I try to teach or, explain, why some of these situations come about and how some of these things happen. Also reinforcing my love and my care for her, letting her know nothing is more important than the way that I feel about you, and I don't ever want you to think that it is, because I'm going to always show you. You're going to feel, how powerful my love is for you.
Yeah. And Ty, one other thing that I just want to say is build your community, man. Right. Like, so I used to try and handle shit on my own. But now I'm in a group chat with a bunch of my frat brothers that are fathers. Right. And sometimes I bounce things off of them before I respond, just to get a different opinion.
Sure.
Yep, for sure. And sometimes just having that community of men, and I'd love to exchange numbers with you, man. Just having that community of men that may have been through that situation before can make all the difference in the world, Yeah. So man, keep pushing, and we'll exchange contacts, bro.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm gonna move on to the next question, but to your point, when I have my moments, even as a mom, where I'm frustrated and I don't know how to respond in certain situations, I reach out to my closest girlfriends that can kind of give me a different perspective, because sometimes you look at situations and you're like, okay, am I overreacting? Am I tripping? And so it's good to ask somebody else and see how they view the situation. And sometimes they're like, yeah, Monisa, I understand why you're upset. But then sometimes it's like, well, try to look at it from this perspective, Monisa. And it kind of helps to bring you down a little bit in those moments of frustration when you're trying to navigate a situation that isn't the best situation. So I definitely agree with Ray. Like, tap into your community, tap into your network of, other fathers, or for those moms on here, other moms. I'm always seeking input or advice from other people that can give me different perspectives. But yeah, good topic. We're going to move on to the next question. So how do you define quality parenting? How do you define quality parenting?
I can take it first. So I don't think it's black and white, right? And I'm sort of what I like to consider a new age parent. I talk to my kids about whatever, and sometimes it's that shock value. Like my oldest daughter, especially, she's 12, she's experiencing new things, and society's not going to sugarcoat shit for her, right? So why should I? And so quality parenting for me is knowing who your child is and having built that relationship, that you know what they need. And so that's not a particular thing. It's not a particular way. That could change from day to day. So I think, for me, I think quality parenting is really having a relationship with your children so that you know how to show up for them.
What about someone else? How would you define quality? Go ahead, Mark.
I would say stability in a good, positive way is important. Consistency is another one. Good relationship building, learning towards education and general life and reality of the world is important. And showing love is key. And then I would say lastly, make sure they are facilitated into who they are versus what you may want to be. We're all different people. I'm sure we could think of our extended families are all a little different. Just making sure you're taking your child to their potential of what they can be and guide them along the way. Make sure they don't stray too far or get lost, but make sure they can explore their ambitions and their self-expression in a positive way.
Thank you for that, Mark. Go ahead, Deanna.
I think for me, I don't know what I'm doing half the time. So initially, I didn't even want children. You know, I don't know what they say. Tell God your plans, and He'll show you otherwise. So when my nephews came to me, when Trey came to me, I don't know, right? So what I've learned over the years with the oldest nephews and with Trey, is just to be their voice, to speak up for them, to listen to them. With Trey's autism diagnosis, I have to be his voice. Trey, we call him pre-verbal, so he can speak, he can talk. He does have a speech disorder, language disorder. You can't always understand what he's saying. Some things you can, but sometimes if you've met Trey for the first time, you might be like, what did he say? And I have to tell you what he said. So I have to be his voice. And for me, that's quality parenting, having to fight these schools, having to fight through these IEPs, having to make people understand who want to label him or give him things that he's not, right? I know this child, right? This is my child. So nobody can tell me anything about Trey. Not a doctor, not a professional. You can give me your ideas and opinions, but I'm with this child every single day. So I have to speak for him. One of my nephews, the middle one, he had some issues with the N word in his school system. Nobody told us about this. Nobody at all. No teacher, no, he was just coming home, coming home, coming home. I put it on Facebook because that's where my village is. My village is on Facebook. And someone on Facebook was like, hey, I know somebody on the board with that school district. Do you mind if I reach out? No, please do. Reached out. Principal knocked on the door that Saturday morning. What principal shows up at your door on Saturday morning? We know that school district didn't want anything to do with any of that. But by that Monday, they had us in there for a meeting to transfer him out of that school into another one, and then dealt with listen here. But that's quality parenting for me. Just being there for your kids, listening to your kids, speaking up for your kids, and just being their voice.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Deanna. Go ahead, Marcel.
My girls, they help me with being a quality parent. They definitely keep me on my toes with having 3 girls and 3 different personalities that are every bit of their father. So, but I have like my upbringing was more so like my mom was a go-getter. Like she's married to my stepdad for the last like 25 years, but even when she met him, to this day, she's a go-getter. So she's always been grinding, working. If I need her, then hey, Ma, I need you. She'll be there. But other than that, she made sure food on the table, everything. My stepdad, same way, grinding. My dad, street guy, hustler, gonna make the money. He gonna make sure that it's food on the table at the end of the day. So I got 2 worlds of one street, got it, and then another side, grinder, build career, all that stuff. So I have that personality. Like I'm gonna make sure there's always food on the table first. Grind. But then my girls, they always bring me back to reality. Hey, Dad, one want to do this. The other one need her time. Now the third one need her time. Everybody need their 15 minutes of fame at a particular time. So they bring me back to my parenting. Like, all right, they made me question sometimes. Like, what do I need to do more? Because in our house, like my wife, she can't get up and leave and take them to school. So I take the girls to school every day and I pick them up every day. I take them, if I can't, it's every once in a while I can't do it, but I attend all their practices. I take them to all their practices. I go to all their games. I take them to all their games. So sometimes I have to question like, what the hell? What more do you need from me? My ass is in your face 24/7. But sometimes they make me realize like they just want to chill and just talk about Roblox, or they want to tell me about a little cartoon that they just watch, and they just bring me back to reality. Like, all right, at the end of the day, they don't care about all the material stuff. They don't care about the sports. They don't care about all they care about. It's just that 15 minutes of fame with their dad, and that's what they remember most. So when I think of quality parenting, it ain't really me doing it. It's my girls making me give them the quality. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. So let me go to the comments. So Damon said a big part of being a quality parent is having quality conversations with your children so they know you and you know them. Understanding of each other is the biggest part of any relationship, including parent-child. Yeah, I love that for sure. Elena said being an advocate to your kids is so important. And Tanisha said explaining what quality parenting isn't tends to be a little easier for me. So we definitely appreciate all of the comments on the live. Keep them coming. We definitely want to include you in the conversation. Go ahead, Carissa.
So when you first asked that question, it's so crazy because I think we as parents always sit there and think, are we really being quality to our kids? Because we have this self-doubt as parents on a continual basis. And if anybody doesn't, kudos to you. But I know on a daily basis, I'm like, am I enough? Am I doing enough? And I know if I had more or knew more, I would do more, right? That being said, I feel like how I'm showing up well in my kids' life and being quality is really teaching them how to navigate this world without me. So I know it sounds morbid and whatever, but the concept or the thought process of my last day here and my kids having to deal with mourning on top of trying to figure out how to do life and figure out how to process seems so daunting. And so my everyday is committed to how do I create learning lessons and help them process through the weird things that life is going to have and throw at them. And how do I build my legacy within them that when I'm gone, I'm still here with them and I'm talking to them. And we talk a lot about death, right? We talk a lot about the possibility of that because tomorrow's never promised. And especially with COVID, right? Like tomorrow's never promised. And so as I think about how I'm showing up well as a quality parent, I would say that that's really important for me.
That's good. Right, were you about to say something?
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to add to the conversation is so your interaction with your children is a relationship, right? And I don't think that a lot of people account for that. And many of us aren't good at relationships in general. And so sometimes we aren't good in that relationship with our children either. So like doing the work on yourself, becoming comfortable with you, finding your pain points, the things that trigger you. I had a lot of anger issues when I was a young man, right? And so those things translated into how I spoke to my daughter's mom. They translated into how I handle things. And they ultimately did me a disservice because if she said something I didn't like, I was going to cuss her out, right? And that wasn't going to get me to the place that I wanted to be. And so I think one of the main point that I wanted to add is that all of us need to do work on self, right, and become comfortable with ourselves, and that piece of it will benefit all of our relationships, and our kids might be the biggest beneficiaries of that once we figure out who we are and how to control our own emotions.
That's a really good point. Thank you for that, Ray. So I'm going to move on to the next question. I can't believe we're already at 8 o'clock. This is good, guys. So I can relate to this one. We all love our kids unconditionally. However, there are times when we may not like them. Do you agree or disagree? Marcel says, fuck them kids.
Yeah. I'm gonna go first on this one.
Please go, Shakia. Let's hear it.
I feel like everybody here has littles and middles, and I have an older child. So my daughter is actually a junior in high school. She's preparing to leave the nest and go off to college. And for the longest time, she's been quiet Jada. She's always been a very quiet kid. Very mild-mannered, totally, when I say totally opposite her mama, totally opposite of her mom. She's every bit of my husband. And as she's gotten older, even if her friends have changed, she's remained the same. She's been consistently quiet Jada. Here we go at high school, and she done lost her goddamn mind. That's the best way to put it. So she's still a good kid. Don't get me wrong, but the attitude is changed. You can tell she's feeling herself a little bit. She's a beautiful young lady. She's a dance major at Cleveland School of the Arts. She dances very, very well. So I don't know if maybe boys, I don't know. It could be really anything that could be changing her. On top of that, her body's changing, her mental's changing. She is headed to college. Shout out to the HBCUs because we're going to 1 of 4, hopefully. But I can't say that it's days where I'll be like, "Ooh, what you say?" Like, even if I call you and you say, "What?" Y'all know, no, we don't do that. Like, we don't do that. Huh? Yes, ma'am. Yes. You don't have to be formal with me because we have that relationship, but you're not gonna hit me with the what? Like, yes, it's absolutely possible to be wanting to cave your kid's chest in, especially at the age that we're at right now. Love her, but I be ready. She be ready to catch these hands, both of them.
So I think it's unrealistic to. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all got hands up. My bad. Go ahead, Deanna.
I'm sorry, I think Marcel was before me though.
Oh, was he? Okay, go ahead, Marcel.
Yeah.
Hey, look, fuck them kids to the fullest in this household. I put twist tie. Hey, if you follow me on Facebook, you will see, or my wife, you will see all the stories. Me and my wife, we don't post each other. We don't talk about each other. It's the damn kids. Like, they drive us insane. I put twist ties on the cabinets for snacks. I hide laptops, phones, tablets, everything you could think of. I bought the Nintendo Switch for myself, so I take it away from them every night. The kids, it comes to the point where I will text my daughter's mom and I will tell my wife both at the same time, like, if y'all don't put y'all hands on these kids, I'm going to jail because my hands are too big for one, and they're girls. So I'm like, if I hit them, it's over with. So I use scare tactics like, hey, get out of here. But it doesn't really work no more because now the 5-year-old, she'll talk back to you. Or like my 7-year-old, I told her about the living room and she was like, what she said? I said, hey man, I'm trying to watch some football. Well, Dad, it's not just your TV because you wouldn't have put the TV in the living room for the family. So it's all of our TVs. So I looked at her and I know we ain't supposed to use foul language, but that was a moment I was like, if you don't get the fuck out of my face, somebody got to go down tonight. And she was like, nah, Dad, you bought it for the family, so we rolling with it. So ever since that day, it's always been FTK. I love them. And when I got to get them up for school, I don't like funky breath. And they like to run in the room. If I'm asleep, they'll blow their funky ass breath in my face to wake me up because they know I can't stand it. You can walk around musty all you want. Don't come in my face with some funky ass breath. So when I say it's war in this house, it's war all the time. Like, they put extra salt in my food. One time at the restaurant, I went to the bathroom, came back, they poured a whole bottle of salt in my mashed potatoes. It's that type of house. So if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see the if you see us on Channel 9 News, it went down.
Wow.
Well, if you guys want to join the FTK committee, hit Marcel up. He recruiting new members. Deanna, what you got for us?
Oh, Lord Jesus. I don't even know where to start. So I don't know if I start with Trey, the 6-year-old, or Michael, the oldest, the 17-year-old. So Trey, he I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. He's an a-hole. And I tell people all the time, he is. And it's not about the autism. Trey knows. You fussed at Trey, he fussed back. Who are you talking to? He'll repeat, who are you talking to? What? We're not doing this. So the same way Marcel says there's war in his house, there is war. Trey, I'm on the phone. People will tell you who be on the phone, and I'm going. And Trey going back. Am I really arguing with a 6-year-old? Yes. We are going back and forth. The oldest, okay, we're doing college visits. he goes to the Browns game when they play Pittsburgh with his friends. I'm trying to give him a little bit more money, right? He's not answering my calls. I FaceTime him. He's already there. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? I've been calling you. I know. Okay, you gonna respond? I don't really respond to anybody. I'm trying to give you some money. Oh, but it's that tone, right? When he's with his friends, he's all, when you're on the football field, one of them touchdowns, it's all, you're all hype and live. When he's talking to me, it's, I don't know. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, child, boy. But when I say, I got some money, you want food? All of a sudden, you perk up. Look, how do I get involved in the FTK committee? Do we pay dues? Like, so tell me what to do.
Yes, we pay dues, and you can submit your application to Mr. Marcel Rivers. He is the founder and chairman.
And we got chapters. What we doing? Let me know, because I'm ready. Fall 21.
Hey, we starting off locking the snack cabinets. Lock all snack cabinets first. That's what we doing first. Twist ties.
Yeah, man. So just so we can be clear, fuck them kids is a slogan for people that are actively involved in their children's lives, right? That want to take a moment to acknowledge that having kids is stupid. Like, children don't contribute anything to the household. All they do is take. They're expensive as fuck. The daycare downstairs to me is $3,400 a month. Like, children used to till the land and go out and herd the crops and shit. Like, children don't do shit for the household anymore. So fuck them kids. No, I'm just joking, man. But seriously, one of the things that I talked about earlier is maintaining relationships, right? And figuring out how to navigate relationships. And your interaction with your child is a relationship. It is not normal to like someone 100% of the time. I'm not going to like everything that my child does. It doesn't change the fact that I love them. My kid is 2. And if I look at her, she asked me for something twice and I look at her like this, she goes away, right? Like, because like I don't want to be bothered. I feel like, and mothers especially, right? Like, you guys are under such pressure to be good moms that you don't always get the opportunity to just vent and to just be real about how you feel. And so, I don't know how anyone does this shit on our own, because Kristen and I, we take turns fucking off, right? Like, there'll be days where I'm like, Kristen, I got it today. You don't do shit. Like, go have a glass of wine or whatever, right? Because we all need breaks. Like, I was a single parent for like 2 weeks when Kristen was in St. Thomas. Never fucking again will I agree to keep the baby by myself for 2 weeks. Like, that, it's intense and it's taxing, right? So like, taking care of yourself and making sure that you're in a good space is important. And sometimes that means fuck them kids.
I have to say that you are all giving me life. I was the one who asked that question because, yes, as a single parent, like an independent parent, I am constantly outside their door. And I'm not, I don't say it, but it reminds me of when I was in high school and my parents were pissing me off and I had to shut the door and cuss them out, right? Without them hearing me, And so now, like, the total reverse, to where, like, there's been times where with my daughter, I'm like, I need you to stay in your room, not for any other reason, but I need you to stay safe. So please get in your room, be in there for an hour. I need to decompress. And so it feels so good to hear other parents struggling with this, because there's so many times where I feel guilt and shame. And I thank you for not making me feel guilt and shame anymore.
I really appreciate that question, and I really wanted us to discuss it because, to your point, Carissa, you're not the only parent that probably feels that way when you have those moments where you're looking at your child and you're like, I don't like you right now. I think it's completely normal, but a lot of people are afraid to admit to that because society wants us to be lovey-dovey and warm, and our kids is just all butterflies and rainbows, and that's just not realistic. They have their own personalities. They're developing into their own people, and so just like you're at work dealing with different personalities, just like you're in school or whatever the case may be, your child has a different personality, and that personality may be one that doesn't mesh well with your personality. And whoever said it earlier, it doesn't mean that you don't love them, but it's okay if sometimes you just don't like them. But at the end of the day, it's your child. So the love that you have for them, the grace that you give them is a little bit more than that coworker who you're like, I can't stand this person, fuck him or her. It's a different type of feeling when it comes to your own child. And even as they start to get older, because if you think about it, the personality of a 2-year-old, that necessarily may not be her personality when she's 14, and that's not going to be her personality when she's 22 or when she's 30. So as they're going through these different stages and they're developing and figuring out who they are, there's going to be moments where you're like, I'm not feeling you, I don't really like you, but you work with them. They're figuring life out, and as parents, it's our responsibility to help them navigate all of those things and to help them build character and to be a likable human being. But some of them will just be annoying little human beings. That's just who God created them to be, but we still love them anyway. So I definitely appreciate that question. I will say, Ray, you got Marcel in trouble. Danielle said you need to be taking notes, Marcel, because Ray sent his away for 2 weeks. So Danielle want a trip. She want a trip. So where we taking my soror? We taking her to Barbados. We taking her to Jamaica. We need to send Danielle something. But we can talk offline. Danielle, I got your back, girl. I got your back.
Real quick,
So
I just want to jump in. I want to thank Ray and Monisa for the opportunity to come on and share some of my parenting perspective and some of my experiences. As you can see, I got my little one right here. I got to get her home to her mom. So I'm going to jump out a little bit early, but it was a great time talking with everybody, and I hope everybody stays safe.
thank you, Ty. We appreciate you. You be safe.
I appreciate you for coming on, man. Love you, bro.
For sure. I'm going to link with you too, Ray. And
All right, bet.
Marcel.
Awesome. Thank you. See you, Ty. All right, so let's move on to, well, hold on. Before I move on to the next question, let me do this special announcement. Okay, so boom, check. Now, you know how people are about to start, so, you know. Anyways, okay. So we have a special announcement for you guys. If you've been following Mixed Company, if you've been following me, this journey has been an amazing journey over the past 2 years. It has continued to evolve in many ways that I did not expect. So everybody that has been supporting Mixed Company from day one, I appreciate you. And I am excited to share that in the evolution of Mixed Company, one of our latest projects is a Mixed Company card deck. So just like you guys have Cards Against Humanity and Black Card Revoked and all those other great card games that you bring to different game nights, Mixed Company officially has a card game with a series of conversation starters. So at the next family cookout, at the next game night with your homies, whatever you know, even at work, whatever the case may be, we have this amazing card deck, the Mixed Company card deck. I don't know if you can see it because the light is kind of bright, but it is now for sale on my website, monisamason.com, for pre-sale. We are accepting pre-sale orders through January 28th. So please support, go to the website, order a pack or 3. We would really appreciate your support. Again, pre-sale orders until January 28th, and then all orders will go out in the middle of February. And as you're making your orders, as you're playing these games, take pictures, videos, send them to me, send them to Ray so that we can post it on social media. But we want you guys to bring Mixed Company into your own households and be able to have engaging and thought-provoking conversation with your friends and family, just like we do every month here on Mixed Company. So again, go to monisamason.com unpacked.com and order your mixed company card deck conversation starter. We definitely appreciate you guys and thank you in advance for your support. If you have any questions, again, hit me up, hit Ray up so that you can get the information. Pre-order sales until January 28th. All right, so we are currently at 8:18, something like that. So we're gonna go with the last question of the evening because we wrap up at 8:30. So the last question that we want to just shoot to the panel, and anybody that is watching live, you can post in the chat as well. But what advice or words of encouragement would you give a single parent in today's society? And I'll read that one more time. What advice or words of encouragement would you give a single parent in today's society? So those on the panel, you can jump in with any words of encouragement. Those that are currently watching on the live, drop that encouragement in the comments. We'll read your encouragement as well because we all need it. We all need some encouragement. We all need to hear from other people when we have those moments where we're questioning ourselves, when we're not giving ourselves enough grace, when we are frustrated, when we feel like we are not doing our best, whatever best means. And so I really think that ending with just some advice and words of encouragement for all of us going through the journey, and even those that aspire to be parents, because everybody wants to be a parent, and then you get in it and you like, whoa, okay, this was not what I was expecting. We're so in love with the cute little babies, but they grow up to teenagers that talk back. So even those of you that are aspiring to be parents, parenthood is a blessing. And so, we want to make sure that we keep each other uplifted and encouraged throughout this journey because nobody has it down packed. There is no handbook. We all are doing what we know. We're learning on the fly. And so we definitely want to just end tonight with just some encouragement that will keep everybody motivated, especially during these hard times with COVID and everything. So, Deanna, I see that you have your hand raised, so go ahead, sweetie.
You are not alone. First and foremost, you're not alone. Find your village, find your people. It wasn't until I was at my worst with these boys, like literally my worst. Never been in that position in life that I found my village. I mean, people I didn't even know were helping me to take care of these boys, helping with Christmases, helping with food and groceries some days, helping with just things that I couldn't. I was carrying too much, right? And I found my village. There's always somebody with a resource. There's always somebody that will help or that knows what you're going through. Never feel like nobody understands. Somebody understands. And if they don't understand, they know somebody. So reach out. You're not by yourself. Find your village, find your people. And I think that's one of the most important things. And also, no matter what's happening, I think we talked about the self-care earlier, always find a little time for you. Even for me, sometimes that's sitting in my car before I go in the house. I don't know if that's therapeutic or what, but I do that a lot. I will hang out in my car and listen to music and just, the next thing I know, I'm like, oh, I'm in my car for like a half hour if I don't get in this house. But you have to find your space too, because we all live for our children in a sense, right? And we want to do everything for the kids, but we're going to burn out fast if we don't stop and do a little something for us. It's imperative. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you sit in the bathroom in the quiet for 5 minutes. Take time for yourself. If you do all those things, I think everybody will be okay along the way.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, Deanna. Go ahead, Shakia.
I'm not a single parent, so I guess for me, the advice is to any parent, because I have a partner that can help me. So when I do get overwhelmed or when I do feel like I'm struggling, I do have my husband to take over, and to step in to, have these conversations with his daughter, that I feel like I might not be able to have. But if I had to give advice, it would definitely be to accept that there's no such thing as the perfect parent. So everybody has this mentality of what parenting is, right? parenting is buying, for some people, it could be buying your kids J's and, you know, just icing them out. For some, it might be just quality time. For others, they're not comfortable with, you know, consequences for negative behaviors. You have to be okay with parenting and raising your kid the best way you see fit. You also have to be okay with making mistakes, because we're human. Like we're parents, but we make mistakes too, just like they make mistakes. And I think everybody thinks that we have to be like the best parents ever. No, there's no such thing as the best parent ever, because we're always going to do something that's not right, or you look back and be like, dang, I shouldn't have did that, or maybe I could have handled this different. You know, now I'm struggling because, you know, Deanna was saying, you know, make time for you. I've never made time for myself. I've always allowed Jada and everything that she's been doing and has done all of these years, from soccer practice to swimming lessons to cheerleading and now to dance. And she's been dancing for years, but I'm at every concert, conference, performance. If it's 3 performances, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm gonna sit through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And now she's needing me less and less and less. And now, especially now that she's driving, I don't have to pick her up and take her to the studio to dance. I don't have to worry about picking her up from school or taking her to school. And I'm struggling because now that I have this free time, it's like, okay, so what do I do? Like, I'm so used to letting this kid consume me. So on top of realizing that I'm not the perfect parent and I'm gonna make mistakes, I also had to realize that I have to make time for myself, even if it's just going to get a pedicure, or if I'm going to sit at the bar at Olive Garden to get something to eat, or going to sit at the lake. I had to realize that I have to make time for me. So those 2 things for sure.
That's awesome. Thank you, Shakia. I want to read a couple of the comments and then we'll go to Carissa and Marcel. So let's see. We got quite a few. Thank you, guys. So Erica said, never give up even when it gets hard. I've been a parent since '05 and I am still learning. Danielle said, in all seriousness, breathe. Just breathe. No parent is perfect. Find your routine that works and don't compare yourself to anyone else. Everybody has their shit. Don't feel ashamed. Sandra says, never give up. Pray, join a church, set a foundation of support. Brooke says, take it one day at a time for sure. Tanisha has, my advice would be that you are doing way better than you think or feel, and that your kids' actions are not a reflection of the quality of your parenting. They have free will. That is really great. I love that. Go ahead, Carissa.
That is actually really excellent to parlay in what I was going to say. If I could go back and tell myself advice when my kids were younger and get out of the habit of what I am now, not putting expectations that I see in other young adults on my own kids. So for example, whenever I see kids on the honor roll, or I see kids in all these sports, and then I'm feeling like a failure as a parent because I'm like, oh, my kids struggle in school, or they're not part of a sport. And so I think I would just give advice to parents. Your kids get to have their own journey, and you get to have your very specific journey as a parent. And it's okay to not match anyone else.
Thank you for that, Carissa. Go ahead, Marcel.
I'll just say, have fun with your kids. Like, I know a lot of parents, it's always serious. Like my wife said on there, just take a deep breath, have fun. We dance. We have Taco Tuesday nights. They know we have game nights. We play Just Dance. We do all that. Just have fun. Everything work out. Let me stop now though, because they about to come in here. War is about to begin.
All right. Do we have anybody else that wants to give some words of encouragement or some advice, either for a single parent or just a parent in general? Go ahead, Mark.
The one thing I would say, my father died when I was 12, so I have a little bit of experience. I'm married right now, but I know what it is to have a single parent, widowed parent. Just build the best you can and strategize around that, whether it's building a community, trying to get a job promotion, moving your family, see what works best for you and your child and build around that, and just keep improving every day. What is today might not be tomorrow. You can never stop improving. Just do what you can, try daily, and more times than not, things will be decent enough. I mean, try to go for the best, but just stay calm throughout whatever your situation may be, and just try to be positive during it all, and keep raising the kid and trying to build the best community you can for your child. It's not easy. I definitely see my mom struggle when my father died, and I know I was pretty strong for her, but it definitely is a challenge when there is a one-parent household, because there's jobs, like I played sports, activities, appointments. You got your car fixed. It takes. I mean, there's a lot that can go in with being a single-parent household. But yeah, just hang in there, and you're doing well. Trust me. You may not think. Don't. I mean, one thing I'll say. I think someone mentioned this. Comparison is a thief of joy. So don't do that. You can take advice from other people, but don't. Like Instagram's like that. We always see the perfect highlight, right? We don't see the struggle behind that. So just do what you can, have fun, enjoy life, and don't take your worst days too personal, and try to have good ones when you can.
I love that. Thank you for that.
Thanks for that, Mark. So Mo, I'll interject, and then I'll let you go. So I just want to reiterate that your interaction with your children is a relationship. And one of the most important things that we can all remember is that the most important person in any relationship is you. If you don't take care of yourself, then you won't be in a position to take care of or to give your best self to anyone else. So make sure that you take care of you. And so, like, not just taking time for yourself, but making sure that you're happy, that you're doing things that enrich your life. And also, men, go get a vasectomy. It takes 10 minutes. It's the best thing that I ever did.
It is the best thing in the whole wide world.
The best thing I ever did. I splashed with no repercussions now. Like, it's fucking fantastic.
High five. Give me 5.
You know what, Ray? You know what would be perfect if we had a doctor like to do an ad, like there's specials right now. Get a vasectomy.
Right.
Don't make me go get my husband, babe. Tell him it was a great decision.
Like, shit takes 10 minutes in and out, like 3 days, you back. Like, it's fucking fantastic. My bad. I'm sorry.
Vasectomy.
I'm just an advocate, man. Like, birth control for women is horrible. Like, it does all kinds of shit to your body, but we can do it in 10 minutes. And like, sorry, that's a topic for another day.
Yes, I'm done with you.
I love y'all. Good night.
This was great. This was a great conversation on so many different levels. And I really hope and pray that all of our panelists, all of our viewers were able to at least walk away with, or you're able to walk away with at least one thing that you can apply in your parenting journey, whether you have younger kids, older kids, or you plan on having kids. These are conversations that we need to have more regularly, because we really need to support each other throughout this journey, because like I said earlier, it's a difficult journey that nobody has perfected. There is not one parent that has this down to a T, no matter how it looks on social media, no matter what they're doing. We all are struggling to one extent or another. And so I definitely encourage you to reach out to your tribe, reach out to people in your community that are parents whenever you feel like you have those moments of frustration, whenever you feel like you just don't know what you're doing, whatever the case may be. I definitely encourage you to make sure that you utilize those resources that are around you, so that you can have the support that you need as you're going through this, because it doesn't stop. It, even once they turn 18, we all think, oh, it stops at 18. It does not stop at 18. They just need a different side of you. And that's one thing that I also just kind of want to throw out there. As our children are getting older, the parent that you were when they were 2 years old is not the parent that you're going to be when they're 12 years old or when they're 18 years old. So as they're continuously growing into little people and then big people, you must be willing and open-minded enough to be able to change how you parent. You need to be able to parent according to their age. You need to be able to parent according to their personality. So I definitely encourage that, you know, you're cognizant of that as a parent, that you're growing as your child is growing as a parent. But again, this conversation was really great. I wish we could keep going, but it's already 8:30. Again, the Mixed Company card deck is on sale. MonisaMason.com. The website is in the comments. Please pre-order. They're up until the 28th of this month. And so we definitely ask that you support what we're doing as we continue to expand the Mixed Company brand. We appreciate everyone that has supported us thus far and those that will continue to support us. We appreciate you so much. So until next time, which will be February, so keep an eye out for February's date. That is the end of Mixed Company. We love you. We appreciate you. Stay safe. All